Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're literally stepping inside one of the most fascinating and honestly most complex systems in the human body. We're going to navigate what scientists actually call the methylation maze. It's this hidden, microscopic biological network operating entirely behind the scenes to control your memory, your mood, and ultimately how your brain ages. So if you've ever wondered what really keeps our cognitive engine running smoothly over the years, well, you are definitely in the right place.
Okay, let's dive right into this. When we talk about brain aging, the conversation usually gets way oversimplified. A huge myth out there is this endless chase for a single superfood or some magic pill that promises to just bulletproof your memory overnight. But the reality? The reality is much more profound. Your brain isn't just a simple organ waiting for a quick fix. It is actually one of the most metabolically demanding systems in your entire body. It's this massive, intricate biochemical engine that literally relies on thousands of interconnected reactions happening every single second just to keep you functioning.
So here is our roadmap for today. 1. The brain's hidden network. 2. Decoding the methylation maze. 3. The homocysteine warning sign. 4. The nutrient maintenance team. And finally, 5. Fueling your brain's future. We're going to break all of this down step by step.
All right, Section 1, the brain's hidden network, understanding our most demanding organ.
It's wild to think about, but relative to its size, your brain consumes an absolutely enormous amount of energy. And because it's so demanding, it's locked in a constant 24/7 battle against the everyday wear and tear of aging. We're talking oxidative stress, inflammation, mitochondrial wear. These are daily, unavoidable challenges. So to preserve your memory, to keep your nerves signaling lightning fast, and to just maintain its structural integrity, your brain completely depends on foundational biochemical systems. Basically, it needs an invisible repair crew working around the clock just to handle constant cellular maintenance.
Moving right along to Section 2, decoding the methylation maze, the invisible communication system.
At the very core of all this maintenance is a process called methylation, which is sometimes referred to as one-carbon metabolism. Now, I know the science sounds a bit intimidating, right? But the concept is actually incredibly simple. Methylation is literally just the process of transferring tiny chemical units, these are called methyl groups, essentially just one carbon atom bonded to 3 hydrogen atoms, from one molecule to another. Think of it like a biological baton pass in a giant relay race. But here's the crazy part. This pass is happening billions of times per second. This right here is the body's primary system for cellular communication and regulation. And this brilliantly illustrates just how much this network actually handles. This single, interconnected system has a massive checklist. It maintains neurotransmitter production, so synthesizing brain chemicals like dopamine and serotonin for your mood, and acetylcholine for your memory. It handles DNA repair and literally tells your genes when to turn on or off. It detoxifies metabolic waste, it synthesizes phospholipids to build your cell membranes, it even preserves myelin, which is that vital protective coating around your nerves that ensures signals travel efficiently. It is an absolute workhorse.
Which brings us to Section 3, the homocysteine warning sign, when the metabolic engine stalls. To really understand what happens when this delicate methylation system breaks down, we have to talk about a molecule called homocysteine. Now, homocysteine itself, it isn't a villain at all. It's just a perfectly normal amino acid that gets naturally produced during standard methionine metabolism. Under healthy conditions, when your methylation network is highly efficient, your body rapidly recycles this homocysteine right back into methionine, allowing the cycle to just continue smoothly. It's a perfect closed loop. But when that methylation process gets inefficient, the recycling process bogs down, and homocysteine levels start to rise in the blood. And elevated homocysteine is associated with some pretty severe risks: cardiovascular disease, stroke risk, cognitive decline, brain atrophy, and dementia risk. Now, it is absolutely crucial to understand that elevated homocysteine isn't necessarily a direct cause of these diseases all on its own. Actually, scratch that. Think of it more like a bright red flag, a severe marker of metabolic dysfunction. It's literally your body's check engine light flashing, signaling that the methylation network is failing, which dramatically bumps up those neurodegenerative risks over time.
All right, Section 4, the nutrient maintenance team, folate, vitamin B12, and choline.
Now, what's really interesting about this slide is seeing how these nutrients act like a perfectly synchronized metabolic orchestra. Look at folate, or vitamin B9. Its active form, 5-MTHF, is the primary donor of those crucial methyl groups we just talked about, driving DNA synthesis. You get it naturally from stuff like leafy greens, lentils, and avocados. Then there's vitamin B12. B12 acts as folate's essential partner. It's required for the specific enzyme that actually recycles homocysteine and protects your myelin. Since active plant sources for B12 are pretty limited, this usually comes from supplements or fortified foods. And finally, we've got choline, found in soy, beans, quinoa, and broccoli. Choline steps in as this great alternative pathway, providing backup methyl donors while actively building cellular structures.
But here's the most fascinating and honestly, the most important lesson from modern methylation research. These nutrients absolutely do not play solo. They are deeply codependent. A bottleneck in one area cascades through the whole system. Scientists actually call this biological bottleneck the methyl folate trap.
Let's move to and see how this actually builds into a systemic problem. Let's say step 1 happens. A vitamin B12 deficiency occurs, which by the way is quite common in older adults or in unsupplemented plant-based diets. Because that B12 is missing, step 2 hits. The specific enzyme responsible for recycling homocysteine back to methionine slows to an absolute crawl. And that triggers step 3. Folate, even if you're eating tons of it, becomes metabolically trapped in a form your body literally cannot use. So a lack of B12 impairs your DNA synthesis entirely, creating this massive cascade that leads directly to real-world symptoms. Things like profound fatigue, neuropathy, memory problems, and severe brain fog.
And hey, we can't forget choline's unique double duty in the brain here. Not only does it support the methylation cycle by converting into betaine to help recycle that homocysteine we keep mentioning, but it's also a direct structural building block. Your brain requires choline to produce acetylcholine, which is the primary neurotransmitter for learning and memory. It also produces phosphatidylcholine, ensuring the actual physical cell membranes of your neurons stay fluid and healthy, while also playing a big role in transporting fat out of the liver.
Okay, Section 5, Fueling Your Brain's Future. Practical strategies for cognitive resilience.
Look, we have to face facts. Aging naturally accelerates some pretty damaging processes. Oxidative stress, mitochondrial dysfunction, chronic inflammation, vascular impairment, and just a general decline in cellular repair. These are realities of growing older. But poor methylation dramatically amplifies these problems. It's like pouring gasoline on a fire. Research consistently links low B12, poor folate status, and elevated homocysteine directly to poorer cognitive outcomes, simply because the brain loses its ability to fight back against these natural accelerators.
Which brings us to the core philosophy of cognitive health. Isolated nutrition, chasing one single vitamin or the latest trending supplement stack, is just flawed. It risks imbalances in those nasty systemic bottlenecks we just discussed, like the methylfolate trap. Methylation doesn't determine brain aging in a vacuum. Holistic nourishment means supporting the entire interconnected network, because methylation works best within a broader context. Stable blood sugar, robust vascular health, good sleep, regular exercise, and an anti-inflammatory lifestyle. It's the whole shebang.
So the crucial point is this: you do not need extreme protocols or wild, expensive supplement stacks to protect your brain. You really just need a consistent, nutrient-dense diet that honors how these nutrients overlap and support each other. To maintain this network daily, emphasize folate-rich foods. Just pile your plate with leafy greens, asparagus, and legumes. Second, include reliable plant-based choline sources like tofu, tempeh, quinoa, and wheat germ. And third, absolutely ensure a reliable intake of vitamin B12, ideally through a high-quality supplement, just to keep that homocysteine recycling process humming along perfectly.
I want to leave you with this final provocative thought. Next time you sit down for a meal or look at your vitamin cabinet, ask yourself, are you just feeding a single nutrient in hopes of a quick fix, or are you proactively nourishing your brain's entire interconnected network? Understanding the methylation maze gives you the power to support your long-term cognitive resilience right from the cellular level up. Thanks so much for joining me on this explainer, and keep nourishing that beautiful biochemical engine of yours.